Okay, this is part 2 of whatever I named part 1. I'll have it in the description. Alright, so we're talking about the force continuum and government and fear and control and a schoolroom shooting. What can you do, or what's the best option? Now, I've got my opinion, everyone else has their opinion, there's a million opinions out there. I'm giving it from you from seeing a lot of victims. I see people who cooperate in robberies, in rapes, and burglaries, and you know what happens? They get victimized. If you cooperate, you get victimized. The police are going to tell you, oh, you should always cooperate, to make you feel like you need them and you can't protect yourself, and the best thing to do is, if a guy rapes you, is to say, I love you, so he'll stop raping you and leave. You know what? I've seen a 90-year-old lady who was made to strip down nude by some rapist, and she tricked the dummy and said, hey, do you mind? I don't mind if you rape me, but you mind if you use a rubber? And he goes, okay. So she walked to the closet, which was right next to her sliding glass door, opened the door, ran out, 90 years old, thinking on her feet, had a plan, and she ran out naked, started screaming, the guy ran off. She didn't get raped, but she distracted him enough, thinking she's going to go get a rubber. Now, he's a dumbass anyway, he wouldn't be raping none of the women, but I mean, she's going to be getting a gun or whatever. But he was like, okay, go get your rubber. So I don't remember the specifics exactly, but it was something to that effect, where she got away and was around. So I found her neighborhood running around naked, and we got the call. Or I don't even remember, to be honest, if I heard about the call and my buddies told me about it, or if I was working. But the situation to where she was on her feet thinking saved her. Now, if you'd have listened to the liberal left, they'd have told you to blow a stinking whistle or to cooperate. And I'm just not that way. So my opinion on what you should do at a school shooting may not be popular. It may not be what you're told. It damn sure ain't gonna be what you're told by the school and everyone else. Hell, they're firing people for fighting back. There's store owners that are preventing robberies and punch a guy out and won't give up the money, and they get fired instead of saying, hey, we appreciate you protecting. If it was my business, I'd be like, hey man, I appreciate you protecting my business. Yeah, I got insurance. Yeah, if he got it, I could have probably charged it. Yeah, the more you let people do that and they find out you're a victim, you know, you give a mouse a cookie, he's going to want a glass of milk. So when you let some guy rob you and you're cooperative and you're like, hey, no problem, come on in. Damn, you ain't got no problems. So every time you want to rob us, we're just going to give you the money and cooperate. When you set that standard up, guess what? Everybody knows, yo man, if you want an easy robbery, go to that 7-Eleven right there, because those guys are cool, man. They give you the money, they don't resist, they don't try to press the alarm, they're cooperative. I like that 7-Eleven. Well, if that's what you want to be as a victim, then you do that. But I'm telling you, when a victim has a hard target, or what's if you fortify a target, if you make it hard, if you make it harder to penetrate or increase that target, you make it more painful, you make the enemy pay for attacking this target, they're less likely to want to attack it. They would rather go for a softer target, especially in civilian crime. And war is a little bit different. Sometimes they want that hard target to show they can take it. But in the civilian world, you need to realize that you need to make yourself not a victim, not an easy victim. You know, if there's a parking lot and there's lights and you choose to walk dark between cars, you're making yourself easy to be a victim. When you could walk in a light where there's a camera, you could act like you're on the phone talking to somebody so they would know, uh-oh, she's on the phone, if I attack her now, they're going to know. You may not be talking to anybody, but if you're walking like you're talking, it may get somebody less likely to go, you know what? Man, I'd like to take her purse, but damn, she's going to scream and they're going to know, and they may get here quick and I may not get. You make the enemy question their attack theory. The guys in 9/11, they had the plane. When the whole plane turned against them and attacked them, they knew they were going to lose. They knew they couldn't win. They crashed the plane, killed everybody. Well, you know what? If I was on that plane, I'd rather go down trying to take them and save the plane than just sit there and let them crash when they wanted to and take out whoever they wanted to. So good for those guys who were, the people who were attacking, I guarantee you weren't liberals. Because the liberals were probably offering them flowers and asking them if we can get you something to drink, and we want you to be comfortable while you're doing your crime, because we don't want to escalate it. We don't want to be the cause of your terrorists putting knives to people. We want to help you help yourself so nobody gets hurt. That's the liberal philosophy. A more conservative, self-surviving, libertarian, whatever you want to call it, person is going to be more self-sufficient. I'm not going to be a victim. And I don't think you should be a victim. And this channel's not about victim, it's about making survivors, about giving you that critical eye and options and how to think. How cops have been trained over the years through government and military, how they have been trained, civilians don't ever get that. So, I mean, I'm just trying to give you a different perspective. So, you're in a school shooting, your school gets taken over. What should you do? Well, obviously, if you can barricade yourself to make it harder for the person to get to you, you're putting an obstacle between you and the attacker. So locking a door, moving a desk, getting away from windows, locking the door, moving the kids in the closet, locking the closet door, now you've created 2 obstacles. Those are all good things. If your door is locked, you can start stacking desks and tables and everything around that door. So even if the door is kicked in, now the guy has to climb over desks, he has to move desks, he has to do distracted. You're causing what I talk about, that lag time. When you have other decisions and you have to do other things, the point between you pull that trigger, when you create lag time, a decision process, that gives you lag time is great for the victim or for the person. If I'm attacking you, I want you to have lag time. I want you to panic. I want you to have other obstacles. I want to slow you down because I want to win. It's going to make it easier for me to take you. Vice versa, if you're attacking me, I want to create lag time in you. I want you to have to think. I want to disorientate you. I want to make you focus on different things. I want to break your concentration on just shooting me to other things. Kicking a door, moving desk, moving tables. The more you can make it harder for a guy to go through to get to you, the less likely he's going to go through to you unless he really wants you. He may just go, you know what, there's somebody running down here, I'll go take this person. So getting in the mind of the criminal or the attacker, first of all, people try to make reason about this. Why do you think somebody would do that? Because they're freaking crazy. That's why they do it. You can't use logic with you try to talk reasonable to an unreasonable person, it just doesn't work. They're unreasonable, whether it be because of belief, fanaticism, religion, whatever it is that's made them believe what they believe, they're not reasonable. So you can't use reason to talk to them. So, you can't use reason, use tactics. Use tactics or use greater weapons. So, when this guy comes in a door, you barricade yourself, you put a door, you lock the door, you stack desks and things around it. Not one chair or one desk. I see people in the movies, oh, they put a chair at the door. Big freaking deal. When I kicked the door, the chair's flying out. That didn't do anything. Made you feel better. I would have rather had 10 chairs laying around all around the door, so when I kick the door, now I gotta climb and step over legs and I gotta move chairs and I've gotta concentrate on where I'm walking, which will give me or someone else an opportunity to hit him in the head, throw a chair at him, poke his eye out, do something to him. So distraction or slowing the suspect down is key, I think, in a school situation. Now, they're going to come up with these super locked doors and this key, and look, when a guy's got a gun, he can shoot through a door. You need to plan. You can't just lock the door and go, I hope he doesn't get in. Kids, let's huddle in the corner and I'll stand in front of you. To me, that's a defeatist kind of attitude. Now, if that's your only option, well, I still don't think hiding in the corner is good. I'll put the kids in this corner, and when they kick that door, I know the kids are going to scream, and I know the guy's going to look at the kids, and when he does, I'm going to be at the other side or blind side around, or I'm going to set up a desk that I can hide behind, so when he comes in the door, I know he's going to look at the kids, and then I can come around and grab that gun. When you're attacking somebody with a gun, there's a few things you want to go for. One is, if you can distract him so you get close enough to grab the gun, that's key. Because if you put a death grip on a gun and you get that thing close to your body, it may go off once, but it's probably going to malfunction. It may go off twice. But if you've got that barrel close enough to your body to where it's parallel or vertical, it ain't shooting you. It may shoot the ground, it may shoot the ceiling, but you just grab that gun. That's going to delay him. He's going to be in a fight to get that gun back. He's going to be in a fight to get you off. Now, you need to be prepared. If you just grab the gun and you hold on to it, that ain't going to help you. Because now you've got both your hands tied up and you're not doing damage. Once he figures out that you're not going to grab your lock or release that gun, he's going to take one hand off and start pummeling you, poking your eyes out, putting your ear, shoving his thumb in your eye, do something, hit you in the ear, pop your ear. He's going to do something that's going to make you let go. So just grabbing a gun, hanging on, shouldn't be the total plan. You need to go one step further. If I grab the gun, do I want to lead him somewhere? Do I want to force him in a corner? Do I want to direct him in a certain position? Where am I going to force him while I'm grabbing this gun? Do I want to go on the ground? Do I want to roll? Am I bigger? All those things we talk about on whether you use force. At this point, if you're in a school shooting, someone gets in there, you need to be thinking ahead a lot. What's going on? Where am I going to set her? You may just grab the gun. The guy may go, you know what? If it was me and I was attacking an enemy and he grabbed my gun, I would give him a gun, go for my secondary, and take him out with the gun. He could die holding my gun. But that's tactics, and I've got a plan, and I would be thinking that. Most of these guys are crazy or unreasonable. They don't necessarily have that training. They don't have that plan. They're acting on fear, adrenaline, crazy beliefs. They're operating a different mind frame. So, locking yourself in, creating barriers, and then finding weapons. You need to be able to develop a weapon out of normal things. When I taught impact weapons for cops, everybody thinks, oh, you're just going to teach a baton. No, we don't just teach a baton. Because in impact weapons, a straight baton is an impact weapon. A PR-24 with a side handle is an impact weapon. We teach that one. A coup baton, a little handheld thing that you use to poke, is an impact weapon. We would teach grabbing a phone receiver. Back when we used to have phones, nobody has phones anymore. But when you used to have phones, you would grab a phone receiver, and that was a great impact weapon. Causing your fish, you could hit it, you come down, hit him with the earpiece, come across, jab him in the head with the mouthpiece. Whatever you want to do, that phone was a great impact weapon, and I always taught the phone. But there's all kind of impact weapons everywhere. You just have to get in the mind frame. If you're in a classroom, pens and pencils are great. I mean, you put a pen to pencil, one here and one facing this way. You can go like this. You can jab, ear, face, neck, break it off in his neck, jab in the neck, break it off. All those things, it may not stop him. It's going to make him think. It's going to make him bleed. It's going to slow him down. It's going to distract him. And that's about all you can do until you take him down. If I was taking on a guy at a shooter when he came in a room and it was me, I would first put up an obstacle. I would try to get that fatal funnel. If you watch my fatal funnel, I want to direct him to where there's only one way he can come in. If I can know he's coming in this way, then I can set up my ambush or my fatal funnel knowing I can predict where he's going to be when he comes in. And if I can predict that, I can set things up and plan around it. I can make myself a desk standing up to where he doesn't see behind it. I can be on the other side of it. I can be there with a chair ready to hit him in the head. I can be there with the leg of a chair. I may bend a chair off one of those aluminum chairs, bend it back and forth, and now it's a sharp edge and it's a stabbing instrument. Now I can take him out in the neck or throat or head or whatever with that stabbing instrument. I may have two of them. I mean, there's all kind of weapons, but you need to be able to think, if I'm in a school shooting, what can I use? Pens, pencils, rulers, anything heavy that I can throw and maybe take them out. A chair, a desk. If you can get multiple people, that's always good, because now the guy can't concentrate on one target. We're creating that lag time. We're getting the guy focusing on several targets. He's getting hit over here with something. Some guy's yelling over here. Somebody's hitting him. Somebody jumps on his back. It's very hard to contain. I remember an incident there was a pregnant woman later to court. We kind of ignored her, and we were after our crazy boyfriend. And me and my buddy was fighting. All of a sudden, this pregnant woman's on my back, got me by the neck. I'm fighting, and I'm kind of blowing her off, thinking she's pregnant. Well, my buddy came in, and he was a third officer I've seen. He grabs her, throws her on the ground, slams her, and hooks her up. He didn't know she was pregnant. Really didn't care. If she would have got me off, this guy could have took my partner, took one of our guns, and killed us. We were all fighting for our lives. So when he threw her on the ground, of course, she screamed he's a woman, and oh, and it's pregnant. She sued the department. The department gave her $5,000 to go away, and all this other crap when she was in the wrong. But you need to realize, when she was on my back, that distracted me. Even though I didn't think she was that big of a threat, I still couldn't focus on the guy I was fighting with. And my buddy was on the ground, but there's a guy in there rolling around. I'm fighting with him, and she's on my neck. So it was a distraction. She knew she couldn't take me. She knew she was pregnant, but you know what? I'll give her this. She got in a fight. She fought for what she believed in, and she jumped on me. She didn't care if I was armed. She didn't care if I was a cop. She didn't care if there was 2-on-1. She got in a fight. And that's the mentality you need if you're going to be a victim. If somebody's coming to kill you, or hurt your kids or family, you need to be in that fight or flight. I'm not going to be a victim. I may not be able to stop you, but by gosh, if I go down, I'm going down fighting, and I may only take out one eyeball. I may take out both eyeballs with my thumb. I may take out a jaw, a throat. I may grab your throat and squeeze it with my death grip. There's a bunch of things you can do. Now, if you take any weapons defense classes, there's certain targets you want to go through. And on the head is the main targets. Obviously for a male, the groin's a good target, but if you've got a cup on, or if you've got a bulletproof vest that covers your groin area, or if you don't kick right, there's guys that can take a kick in the groin, and unless you kind of hit one of the boys just right, sometimes it don't hurt. Other times, it can be a flick, and it'll hurt and drop you to your knees, and you're bending over. So Kicking the groin, it's a great area and it's a good target, but I think the primary zone is the head. And the head, jaw, and throat area. So, impact weapons for the hands, a lot of people want to use their fists and they think that's good. I'm telling you, a palm strike is the best impact weapon you got on your body. It's an extenuation of your arm, it comes in hard, it's not going to hurt, you're not going to break a finger, and that palm right there, you can do a lot of force, even if you're small. Women can do a palm strike, doesn't take that much force. You hit somebody in the jaw, it can knock them out. There's a TMJ. If you make this jaw move just a little bit, that's why most strikes on most of those guys close up is to the head. I'm going to do what's called a bottom fist strike. This is bottom fist. This is a palm strike. This is an elbow strike. So any of those things are hard bones. Rarely do I want to hit somebody with my fist. It's too easy to jam a thumb, break a knuckle. It's kind of weak. I put a weak point right here when I'm punching. I mean, if you work on it and you do your martial arts and you learn how to get it in a straight line and do all that, that's one thing. But for the most person, a hand strike is pretty weak. But the palm heel, bottom fist, palm heel, the heel of your palm strike, those two are the most devastating strikes ever. If you can hit somebody like this, multiple strikes with your palm, you can be very close. In order for me to hit you back here with a fist, I've got to come in and take a big strike. Right here, if I punch you like this, it's not going to hurt near as much as if I punch you like this. So palm heel strikes are good. Jawline, nose, eyes, and throat. Those are your target zones. If you get in a physical confrontation with somebody, those are your target zones. Now, unfortunately, bad guys can watch this and kind of figure out things, but I mean, you know, it's kind of like the internet. It's great, but you know, it can be good and it can be a curse. It's good for passing on information. It's bad because the wrong people can get the information. So it is what it is. Palm heel strikes, bottom fist strikes, targets, jawline, bottom of the ear. That's where the TMJ hits right here. So if you aim for the bottom of the ear with your bottom fist or your palm strikes, if I'm on the side of somebody, if I'm standing on the side and his head's here, if I give him one of those to this jaw, he'll drop like a fire. That's called a boxer's jaw. That TMJ will go and his legs will buckle and he'll go down. And it doesn't take that much force. A lot of women can take a guy down by just hitting them in that jawline. So the jaw, of course the eyes are always great. This isn't as effective as a thumb. You can grab that hair and dig those thumbs in. Grab one behind the head and grab that thumb in. Thumbs to the eyes are very good. When you take guys' eyes out, a lot of things happen. He can't shoot, he can't pick out target, it causes his other eye to water, may mess up his sinus, he may bleed. There's a whole bunch of things that happens when you take guys' eyes out. So if you're going hands-on on somebody, you're in a school shooting, you're fighting for your life, you want to get close and personal and go for that head. Throat, thumb to the throat, back of the hand to the throat, bottom of the hand, palm strike, heel, whatever. If you hit the trachea or throat, if you hit the TMJ, the jaw, mandibular joint, I think is what it is, TMJ, I haven't looked it up in a while, but right along here where the jaw connects, if you tweak that a little bit, he'll go down like you're Muhammad Ali and you took him out. It's pretty good. It's a great strike. But even if you miss and you're going for the jaw, you may hit the head, you may hit a tooth, you may hit the nose. The nose is really good, causes the eyes to water. If you break a nose, really, really hard to recover. Your eyes just, that whole area just kind of shuts down, and if it doesn't drop you, it really blinds you for a second. If you're mentally prepared to get that nose strike, you can continue to fight and continue to attack even through the pain. Most of those guys aren't. If you hit somebody in the nose or break their nose, gouge an eye out, hit that TMJ, chop that throat or trachea, you're going to slow a guy down tremendously in a fight. But you got to be in a fight to do that. You can't be a victim saying, please don't hurt me, I love you, oh, let God take this, I'm going to say a prayer. All that just gets you killed. The old saying, you can pray if you're drowning in the middle of the ocean, but you better be swimming or you're going to drown praying. So these people that want to promote this peace and love and all this let God handle it, or you know, I'll give them a flower, or I'll use the kids and say I'm a mother, or I'll beg and plead. That shit, if a guy's taken out of school, he doesn't care about you or your kids or anything else. He's already made the mental decision that he's either going to die or go to jail or die fighting. When somebody does that, they've made that decision. So for somebody to sit around and try to come up with a reasonable argument or a reasonable discussion to get him to stop, that's unreasonable to me. It's stupid, it's crazy, and that's how you become a victim. Okay? Guy breaks in your house, he's ripping your clothes off, he's punching you in the face, he's going to rape you. You're past the point of talking reasonable with this guy. He's not reasonable. Don't sit there and try to pray with him or try to beg him or try to do something that you think might work. You need to be in the fight. Make it hard. Make him stop. Now, there's different things out there that say if you fight, you hurt him. And rape is about power. It's not about sex. And they like the power. So sometimes challenge that power can enrage them. Sometimes it makes them weak. There's all kind of psychological crap. But you know what? Bottom line, I like fighting my way out of a situation better than begging or pleading out of a situation. So, and that's what I think survival is. Now, the government in our world right now is trying to get everybody not to think that way. We want to get rid of those people. Are called rebels. They're called crazy. They're called violent people. They've labeled and named all this, which is about self-sufficiency and self-survival. When we made this country, there was no police. There was one marshal like for the whole state of Texas, maybe one in the north and east as we started to grow. But you couldn't call 911 and there were no cops. Guess what? You defended yourself. You defended yourself against wild animals, against predators, against robbers, but everybody joined together because we had a common goal of taking care. The people who did the crime were isolated and were made the enemy. The good people stood together. Now, everybody's into their own and there's not really a whole bunch of communities that really stand together and protect, and there's no way there's a community between the people and the government. Used to be the government was kind of on your side because they wanted to keep you healthy so you could pay taxes so they could take care of you so the country would grow. Now government's all about what can we get from you, what can we take from you, and we don't really care about the outcome. We just care about what we can get now so we can get our big pensions, retirements, and whatever. So our government relationship with the people is different. People's relationship are different. Our environment's different on where we're living. I live out in the country, so I'm a little bit more, neighbors a little bit more aware. We call each other when we see a strange car. We check on each other because we know we're the only ones out here. We call the cops, it may take a half hour. The flip side of that is we're much more likely to whip out a gun and challenge somebody. If I see somebody at my neighbor's house or somewhere else, I'm going to get a gun out and I'm going to go over there and go, what are you doing? I don't know you. And they're going to do the same, and we have that relationship between neighbors. That protects us. We don't need government or 911 to watch over us to feel safe. We're not victims. We're survivors, and we live in a way that promotes survival, doesn't promote victims. So school shootings, a lot of things to consider. Have weapons that you kind of can know, look at things you can use, a desk, rip a desk off, a ruler, if they have the old wooden ruler with the metal, that would be a good scraping tool. Jab that in the eye. Pencils, pens, take your belt buckle off. If you got a belt buckle, it's got a metal thing, you put it between your fingers, use it as a fist, maybe that'll poke somebody. Any type of scissors, anything that you can keep. And you can't have weapons at school, but if I was a teacher, I would have things that I could use as a weapon that they may not know. You know, I may have a pointer that I use on a chalkboard that's made of a really thick dowel that I know I could stab somebody, and I could put a point on it and say I'm pointing a board. They don't know it's a weapon. I'm not going to tell anybody it's a weapon, but if I need it as a weapon, I've got it. And that's what they used to do. The Chinese were great at this back when all their oppression government was after them. They would learn how to use tools. The nunchuck was used to be to take down rice and to chop down rice stalks, and that's what it was designed. It was a farm implement. It became a weapon as they learned they didn't have weapons. They weren't allowed to have weapons, so they trained themselves with the farm implements. The government wanted them to farm and make food and do what they want them to do, so they had to give them these farm implements. Well, guess what? That's how the staff was created. They would use a rake or a hoe to learn how to use and move and stab and strike. And they developed weapons out of things that weren't weapons. When you don't have a gun, that's what you have to do. And that's why when the government only has guns, usually sticks against guns, sticks lose. Okay? Talking against guns, talking loses. Okay? The only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun, period. That's why you call 911, you call a cop, you call the military. You want guys with guns to come take guys with guns out. If you have a gun, then you can stop guys with guns, because you're a good guy, and we can stop bad guys. So hopefully I gave you a little idea on kind of this two-part series, Escalation of Force, talked about a lot of things, understanding things. This is such a complex subject. I mean, you know, I got 30 years of training experience in this. It's really hard to kind of give it to you in 15 or 20 minutes. So these video tapes may be long, I rattle off, I jump in different directions, but I really want you to understand, to do this critical thinking on your own, to understand all that goes into making decisions and justifying it and what creates lag time. And if I have a plan, I know how to implement it. It cuts down my lag time. I know what I'm going to do. I have things. It may not go as planned, but at least I have a direction to instead of standing around that one video where I showed you where the girl walks in, the guy's robbing her place, and she does, ah, ah, ah. That's not a plan, okay? If you're doing that, I'm telling you, that's a clue. You didn't have a plan. Hope that helps. We'll end that there, and I'll try to do another one on search warrants on the inside without the wind.